Hey, what's up guys, Bajheera here, bringing you another video about the mighty quest for epic loot, which is in open beta right now. Let me remind you about that, guys, so you should definitely go click the link in the description and sign up for the beta now, and come try to attack my castle. But if you remember last time, what we talked about was the sort of attacking side, the dungeon crawling, the hack and slash action RPG aspect of this game. But as fun as that is, and I do really enjoy attacking other people's castles, farming up resources, seeing what other players are up to, this side of the game, the castle defense, the dungeon creation, is what has really got me hooked on this game. And what I'm showing you here right now is a little bit of the process of designing a castle. In terms of the baseline requirements of your castle, you must have at least 3 rooms, which means that you basically have to put one other room in your castle because you are locked into having the starting zone and you are locked into having the boss room. You are unable to edit the starting zone, but you can edit the boss room. So basically you have the beginning and you have the ending, but what comes in between is completely up to you. You've got a wide selection of really awesome rooms to customize the layout of your castle as you guide the enemy player through your traps and your monsters. Which does bring us to the next aspect of your castle design that I'm going to talk about, which is what is actually going to be filling up your castle once you figure out how you want to build it. Traps and monsters are what are going to really provide the beef to your defense here. Now, really the only requirement in terms of monsters and traps is that you have at least one monster in your castle somewhere, which means that some people have gone and designed an entire defense network of only traps, and then placed a tiny 1-point monster like a chicken at the end of their dungeon. Now, I can go over some of my favorite monsters and favorite traps in another video, but what I want to do here is take a look at what it actually looks like to run through the dungeon that I've created. Now, I did make a few changes to my dungeon after I showed you guys the whole creation process earlier in the video, but this is what it looks like when you take your character and hack and slash through here on your own, which is an important part of the dungeon creation process. Because in order for your dungeon to be saved and available to other players as you designed it, you have to be able to clear it yourself. And there's 2 aspects to this. One, I mean, you know, it shows that it can be done, I suppose. But the main aspect is that you, the creator of this castle, get a chance to set the standard for how fast it can be defeated. And your record time then stands as one of the conditions for victory within your castle. So obviously you want to make this castle as difficult as possible, but at the same time, you want to make sure that you post a very, very fast time so that when other players come in here, they have a hard time getting that full 3-star victory, thus protecting some of your precious crowns. Now, once again, I'm not going to go into full detail on all of the monsters in the game, at least not in this video, but what I would like to point out is some of the combinations that I've found to be most effective so far in my experiences with the mighty quest for epic loot. Now, designing a castle at lower levels can sometimes be difficult because you don't have a whole lot of resources to work with, you don't have max upgraded units, but from what I've found and what I've experienced, some of my favorite combinations are the combinations of the Bone Puppeteers or the Dr. Skulls, which are the elite version, the Smelly Archers or the Zeeks, which are the elite version of the Smelly Archers, and then the Defendotrons or the Robo-Shieldtrons. And once again, you can use the normal versions of these monsters earlier in your castle just to provide some relatively threatening and potent defense, but in your boss room, when you have more aggro tickets to work with, I definitely recommend you use the elite version of those monsters. So go for the Zeeks, go for the Robo-Shieldtrons, and go for the Dr. Skulls as soon as they are available. That is a very, very potent defense and something that has gotten me lots of kills in my own castles. And what we're looking at here is some replays of people who have attacked me in the past. Now, as you can see, I've made some changes to my castle, and it makes this front room a lot more threatening. And like I was mentioning, I'm using the normal versions of my favorite combination of units. And the reason I like that composition so much is that it provides shields and heals for everybody in the party. And then, of course, the archers or the Zeeks really bring a lot of damage to the table. So it becomes a really, really hard pack to kill, because if you decide to kill the guys who are shielding, the little healers will keep them up. If you decide to kill the DPS guys, they will both be shielded and will be getting healed at the same time. If you try to kill the healers, they will be receiving shields and you will be getting pelted by the archers. And you'll see here, the guy attacking me right now is definitely struggling versus just the first room even. And he's elected to retreat behind the first wall and get out of that middle room. And as soon as he goes back, he does get hit by an archer shot, gets run over by the hamster wheel, and takes his first death of the dungeon. Now, I've talked a little bit about my favorite sort of monster compositions, but I also want to talk to you guys about some of my favorite trap combinations. Now, one of the ways I like to defend my my doorways, my little choke point hallways there, at least at lower level, is with hamster wheels with some spring traps, because the hamster wheels forces the player to have to make a speedy decision about going through the hallway. They have to run through quickly, and if they run through too quickly, they will get knocked up by the spring traps, which forces them to fight the monsters within that room in a way that they might not want to. But if they aren't very speedy about it, they might get hit in the back by the hamster wheels, which will still knock them into the spring traps, or force them into the room regardless. So either way, I'm sort of forcing the player's hand in terms of running through the hallway quickly, and then as a secondary aspect to that, it makes it much more difficult to run backwards through the hallways if you wanted to kite the monsters back through the castle. Because the monsters also are hesitant to go through the hamster wheel at this point. So you're just sort of sitting there on the opposite side of the room, and the monsters aren't coming through, so you're not actually kiting effectively, you're just wasting time. And in order to get at the monsters once again, you're going to have to go through that hallway, get hit by the hamster wheel, get thrown up by the spring traps, and probably end up dying. So using that little trap combination in the hallways between rooms really makes it an effective choke point, and you get a lot of utility out of that trap combination by both forcing the player through the door if they're trying to advance, and also preventing their escape if they're trying to retreat. So that's an example of sort of using trap placement on crucial zones, which are the transition areas. Now, another thing that you want to do with your traps is make sure that there is not room for the other player to kite through your dungeon and have easy places of attacking your monsters. Now, once again, I know this is a lot more difficult in lower level because you don't have as many resources to work with in terms of like your castle supply, but it's something to keep in mind, is that you can prevent there from being any sort of safe spaces to attack your monsters by using things like ballista traps. Those are the little traps that I have in my castle that shoot off a little fiery mortar and hit the ground in an AoE. You never want the player to feel safe or at ease in your castle. You always want to keep them on their toes, always keep them moving, and make it so that if they ever stand still, they're in the risk of dying instantly, as you saw that archer do. And as we transition into this replay of the knight attacking me, I cannot tell you guys how much I enjoy this replay function. That's what we're using right now to take a look at these attacks on my castle. Not only do you get a chance to design your own castle, but you actually get to watch the replays of other players attacking your castle. So you, for one, of course, you get the satisfaction of seeing other players fall victim to your traps, but two, you also get a chance to see what was effective and see what needs work in your castle. You know, of course, like I said, seeing a player fall victim to your traps is satisfying. It is rewarding to see them fail, in a way. But at the same time, you do need to make improvements to your castle over time, and there are players who will not fall victim to your traps. And those players will give you a chance to learn from your mistakes and make your castle more and more effective. And that, as I've said before, is the aspect that really draws me into this game. Is constantly tweaking, constantly trying to optimize my castle, thinking about what I could do to make it better, trying out new strategies that I see other players employ in their castle, and of course, as you go along in the process of leveling up your character, leveling up your castle, you will have more things at your disposal. You'll be able to make more complex traps, more devastating monster combinations, things like that. And that's the kind of thing that really draws me in, and I have been enjoying this game tremendously. Which is why I want to share some of this stuff with you. Now keep in mind, it is in open beta right now, so if this game looks neat, check out the description of this video, click that link, go sign up for the beta right now, and give it a try. Like I said, this game has definitely been taking up probably too much of my time recently, but it is an absolute blast, and I fully encourage you to check it out. If for no other reason than I want you to level up and try your luck against my own castle, of course. But once again, thank you so much for watching, guys. It's a really good feeling to be able to post videos about new games like this that I'm really enjoying, and to be able to share the experience with you guys. So, please be sure to like and comment if you enjoy these Mighty Quest for Epic Loot videos, because I'd be more than happy to make more for you. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace!